Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Little Black Dress podcast. And I am so excited to introduce to you my guest of honor. She is a doctor in the Midwest, and we connected on social media a few years ago. And I've met Megan a couple times in real life, and she's so special. Like she's doing all the things all at once. And yeah, Megan, welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you're here.
Yes, I'm so excited. Now, one of these times we'll have to meet when I'm not pregnant because then we can actually rage. Because like I've been pregnant every time I've met you. So
Shut up. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yes, it's because you're so sexy. Like your husband cannot keep his hands off of you.
He
She's
just
got
can't handle all this.
That is so true. You've been pregnant every time.
Yes.
Holy crap. That's freaking amazing. Where did I want to go with this? Like, okay. Oh, I have to read the notes because Colin spent time on. I was just telling Megan the only reason why I have notes in front of me is because Colin is organized and I am not. And she wants us to do just a brief introduction of who Megan Timm is.
Okay. I am my name's Megan. I live in Iowa, born and raised, small town life. I live in a town of 2,000 people, and that's where I practice. Well, one of my practices. So I guess to segue into that, I currently have two practices, about to close on a third. So all in small towns. So that's been a fun adventure. I have two kids, about to have a third around Christmas time.
Oh my
So
goodness.
every practice I add a child. So but I'm done after this child. I don't know about practice.
Oh,
This one.
that is amazing. You really are. And wait, aren't you building your dream house at the same time?
Yes. Yes. We're building a house and we just got a puppy. So yeah, it's just life is good.
Life is busy. Okay, so before we recorded, I actually asked Megan if she wanted a cocktail, completely forgetting that she was pregnant. So I'm glad you turned me down for the cocktail. How far along are you?
Um, See, third pregnancy problems, you kind of like just don't realize. I had my anatomy scan, so I think I'm like 22 weeks, 23 weeks
Oh,
there-ish.
a boy, girl?
We don't know. I have one of
Oh my
so
gosh.
we are gonna wait to find out.
Do you have an inkling? Like, what do you
Oh,
think?
I don't know. I'm wrong every time. I thought my son was a girl and I thought my daughter was a boy. And
Hmm.
so I think this one is a girl, so it's a boy.
So it's definitely a boy. Yes.
Definitely a boy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So around Christmas time,
Yes.
and you mentioned you are about to close on your third location. Okay, we need to dive deep into that after the introduction or after this or that. Because
Okay.
Colin, okay, so this is our icebreaker. So it's a rapid fire, whatever comes to your mind first. Lions or tigers?
Lions.
Lions. Pizza or tacos?
Oh, pizza, 100%.
Tacos. Talking pets or talking babies?
Talking pets? Is that the first?
Yes,
Talking pets.
talking.
I want to know what my dogs think.
I would say talking pets too. Is it Leto? Jared Leto? Jared Leto or Colin Farrell?
Okay, I'm not a comedy person. I think those are comedy people, so I can't say. I'm not sure.
I don't know if they're comedy people, but they're not really big, so maybe Colin.
No,
Col- Colin Farrell's the Irish guy that nobody can understand. Isn't that
okay.
Colin Farrell? And
Maybe.
Jared Leto, he was on oh, you're too young. So My So-Called Life. Did you ever watch that show? No. Okay, I have aged
Fell short.
myself. Okay, never mind. Okay, so what is your party trick? And okay, before you answer that, so if you want to be a guest on the show, Colin sends you like a quick little questionnaire.
Yes.
And I when I got your answers back, I was like dying laughing.
Okay, I
Um,
can't remember what I put,
oh,
but
okay. So your party trick is
fitting my fist in my mouth.
oh, you didn't even, no wonder you have your third pregnancy. I told you you're irresistible already. Oh wow. Okay, you can put your whole. Can you show me? I really
Okay,
want
we'll
to see.
see. I have a gag reflex, with pregnancy, so we'll see if I can do it, but we'll try, okay?
Okay.
I can usually go a little deeper, but that's about all.
I'm like crying already. Okay, guys, I told you this was going to be a great episode. And Megan, I don't know if you're aware, but these are video
Yes,
recorded to go on YouTube. So
I
if
love
you
that.
if you want to see Megan's party trick, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You cannot miss that. Okay, so besides being able to put your fist, that was pretty talented. Besides that, you also mentioned Bar Megan, your alter ego.
Yes.
Okay, tell us more about Bar Megan.
She showed herself in Seattle for the first time. That was a couple years ago, 2 years ago. So basically, real life Megan is very passive. I'm a people pleaser. I can't make people mad. I'm not argumentative. Bar Megan will let the drunk guy know to back the F off. I paid a lot of money to be here and enjoy myself, and just do not talk to me. So I just do not put up with shit when I'm drinking.
Okay, so does Bar Megan have to be drunk to come
Yeah.
out?
Yes.
Yes. Ah, okay. And then I really want to see this killer twerk that you have.
Okay. See, I can't quite do it when I'm pregnant. So we'll have to
Oh, can we
wait.
try? Can we try?
We'll try. So you're
Okay.
gonna see toys in the background. So like don't mind my like mess. It's been a
Okay.
minute since I've tried this, so I'll be a
Okay.
little bit off. But if it's not impressive, we'll have to do a follow-up where I actually
Okay.
do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, she's putting the computer down.
Angle. You like the bump.
Oh, your bump is adorable.
I don't know. It's not right.
Oh my goodness, Megan.
But
For a white girl, that was so impressive too. I
I don't know.
mean, that was impressive already, but especially for the fact that you are pregnant and you're white. Like
Yeah,
that's
very
I
white.
can't do that. How
I'm from
did you do
Iowa,
that?
so I'm as white as it can be.
How did you discover that? Was that date night
No,
shenanigans?
yeah, that's how I conceived my first. No, it was. I discovered it on a bachelorette party bus. I had to impress people, and I ran out of money because I was poor, so I had to get guys to buy shots for me. I was so broke, but I was thirsty.
You were so broke, but you were thirsty. Oh my gosh. I already know what I want the title of this episode to be.
Yes.
Broke, thirsty, and twerky.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what is something no one really knows about you?
Oh
Do you remember what you answered?
no, I don't.
It's the pregnancy brain. That you mentioned you wanted to become a certified sommelier.
Yes, yes. That is like one of my life goals. It was going to be before I was 30, but with this pregnancy, that timeline might not work out. So maybe before I finish my 30th year.
Oh, so fun. Like, what's your favorite kind of wine?
I am really like a Cabernet person,
Mhm.
especially like a 2016 from like Napa is really good.
Oh, dang, she got specific on the year. Not just any, not just any cab from Napa. It's the
Yes.
2016.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know you're going to have a newborn, but you know we're going to have a startup conference or startup
Yeah.
retreat.
I mean, I definitely don't have a startup, but I will come.
I mean, you're honorary. Like
Yeah.
that's I would love that if you came.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do? And you told us about being a mom and owning multiple offices. But you also mentioned something that really hit home, at least for me. And you talked about the guilt associated with not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yes. It's super interesting to me because I don't know if it's the small town life, but a lot of people here are stay-at-home moms or like want to be. And I just feel like that would be like the worst thing to ever happen to me. And I feel like people kind of think you're a monster and not like a loving mother and that there's something
Hmm.
wrong with you.
Hmm.
Um, which is super strange to me, but my passion is working, and I feel like I'm a better mom for it when I get out of the house and get to be around adults and
Mhm.
give something to my family, which not saying that stay-at-home moms don't offer something to their family, because they obviously do, but I get to provide for my family in that way. And I
Mhm.
don't know, it's just so baffling, the people who kind of shame you for it.
Right. Now, were you already, so hold on, let me think. Did you already own your first practice when you had your firstborn?
So my first was born in dental school.
Oh,
So I was a third year dental student when
oh
he
my
was.
gosh. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Like, how
Yeah.
was that experience?
Um, not terrible. It was kind of, the timing of it was good. I had him between my like third and fourth year, and they let me, so I actually graduated late. Most people graduate in May. I graduated in August. So I kind of took 3 months off to be with him, and then I just went 3 months longer. So it was fine. Um, I didn't know any different, so whatever.
Now, in Iowa, were there other married couples in dental
Oh
school?
yeah. We all get married when we're like 18.
Oh, really?
No. Well, okay. I got engaged when I was 19 and I got
Oh
married
my
at
gosh.
21. And that's not like unusual. Yeah. We're
Oh
all
my, that's so good. I mean, how amazing is that though? Like, you're gonna be a young, cool mom,
that's
and
the plan. And kick
that's
him
the
out. Yeah.
plan. I'm like an old, not cool mom.
I'm
Like,
still
it's,
rocking the Honda Odyssey. I feel like you also drive a Honda
I
Odyssey.
do. Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So I feel like anybody who drives a Honda Odyssey just has automatic street cred.
Yeah. I mean, it's the coolest of the minivans.
It
So
really is. I mean, do you have the what is the high end version of
I
it?
have the Elite.
Oh, I think I have the touring.
Oh, see, I'm even above you.
I mean, we already knew that with that twerking situation and the fist in the mouth. Oh my gosh, like it's no wonder.
I will say one of my very best friends is an NFL wife, and even she drives a minivan. So
Oh my goodness, she had. Okay,
yeah.
so we're doing it right.
Yeah.
Um, so then you had your daughter, and
Yes.
then you were pregnant after you had already purchased your first location?
Yes, because I bought locations 1 and 2 together. They were kind of a package deal. So I bought them right. I graduated, and that was my first job, was my practices. So I've
Oh
been
my
by
gosh.
myself.
So you freaking A, that's so crazy. So you graduated from dental school
Yes.
and your first job was an owner of two practices.
Yes.
Like, and you look like a baby. So can you walk us through being a woman, being a young woman, stepping into this ownership role? And I'm sure all of your employees were older than you.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how was that?
It was, one thing that I'm blessed is that I was so naive. I wasn't afraid. Like I would probably never do it again. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I would do it again. It's done good things for me, but like I have like a touch of like caution now that I didn't have back then. I thought like, oh yeah, you become a dentist, you own a practice, that's what you do. Um, and so it was definitely difficult because in school, as you know, they don't teach you anything about business.
Mm-mm.
And then I bought a practice that hadn't been touched since the 80s when it was built. The assistants were trainee assistants who worked for the same doctor. So they never even went to assisting school and only knew it one way. So things were very antiquated. And I just kind of I did everything against the book. They say buy a practice, don't change anything.
Mm-hmm.
I changed everything.
Like right away?
Everything. Yep. They were a network with every insurance. I dropped everything except for Delta Premier.
Wow.
Yeah. It ended up being fine actually, but it was a lucky accident that I guess it was fine. And I didn't know how to manage people. I still struggle with it because a lot of my team now is very close to my age. I think you kind of attract team members that are kind of in the same stage of life as you. I don't
Mhm.
know. At least that's how I feel. So it's kind of hard to not be their friends. And some of them I am their friend, and so definitely managing people and being a boss was and still is a struggle. Um, the age thing was not as bad as I thought it would be. I grew up in the town I practice in, so a lot of people knew me. The hardest part was people asking about my parents and how they're doing, which that's a story for a different day, but or this day, whatever. But but that
No,
was
we're definitely going to talk about that because I've been thinking about you
yeah.
actually. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have so many directions that we could take this. Like now it's like, okay, what do we focus on first? Because okay, so you bought these two practices and now you're this young woman who just graduated from dental school. Like did you end up having to fire anybody right when you took over?
Um, we didn't fire anyone, but we kind of forced people to quit.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
So
And then one practice is in the town where you grew up. And then
yes,
how far away is the second location?
30 miles, which in Iowa time is 30 minutes.
That is amazing.
A mile a minute.
I love it. And then do you know the demographics of that town?
Like population or
Yeah, population to dentist ratio.
oh, we're the only dentist in the county.
Oh my gosh. Shit. Okay. Okay, okay.
Actually, take that back. There is one other practice
Oh
that's
my
someone's
god.
satellite practice, so they're there 2 days a week.
They're there. So literally, if you didn't take over these two practices, like, wait, are you the only dentist in the practice in the town where you grew up now?
There's two. Okay, so there is two other practices. One is a modern practice, kind of like how ours is. So there's another dentist there. There's another one that the guy is like 70 or 80 years old, like has probably 200 active patients, does his own hygiene, has checked.
Oh,
I mean, just like is basically
gotcha.
not really in the equation.
Oh my gosh. But your town only has around 2,000 people.
Yeah. So Iowa is really strange that even though our towns are tiny, the pool is really big.
Gotcha.
So like you basically kind of look at the county. So our county has, I think, like maybe 20 or 30,000 people.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but it's just tons of small towns. So like the town where my office manager lives is like a town of 200 people. Like there's towns of like just several hundred people. And they
Gotcha.
obviously are too small to have a dentist, so they come. So
So you really don't even have to advertise then.
not really. I mean, I still do. I mean, our marketing budget's pretty small. Like I think I'll drop like $100 on Facebook ads or something like that.
Breaking the bank over there, Megan.
It feels like a big commitment to hit send. Or like the local newspaper, things like that, which is,
Oh,
but
so what does your time look like between each location then?
oh man, I mean, it depends on what stage we're in. Right now, we're kind of we're looking for another doctor, 1 to 2 more doctors. But so I practice clinically 2 days at each location, and then I teach at the dental school on Mondays.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and once we add this third practice, we don't have a doctor to put in it right now. So
Jeez.
I'm working there too.
Oh, and you are pregnant.
Yes.
And you have two other kids at home and a husband. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I'm tired. Like I only have one office and this past month I've been working a lot. One of my associates broke her leg. Dr. Tiffany broke her leg, so she's been out for a few weeks. And then Dr. Cassie's in France right now. And I was like, damn, I have like two doctors and I'm the one here working all this.
Right?
And I feel old. Like I turned 39 this year and everything has already started just to go downhill. Like my neck has been killing me. Like
Yeah.
just oh my gosh. So make sure to practice your ergonomics because when you get old like me, oh goodness.
Well, I hopefully won't be chairside when I'm 39.
Ah,
That's
see,
the goal.
that is the goal. Okay, so I mean, obviously you are a businesswoman. Like I want to pick your brain, like, and then we'll switch gears and talk about like family and drama and
Sure.
all that stuff. Okay, so since we're talking about practices, you mentioned something to me before we hit record about what the shift in terms of how your EBITDA and all of that when you buy your third location. Can you tell everybody at home what your end goal is? Like, what's your exit strategy, and how soon are you thinking you can get to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I change my mind all the time. I mean, so I'll probably whenever this airs, my like end goal will be
Yep.
different.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's just how my brain works. I don't know, have you ever read like Traction or anything like
Yes.
that? So I'm very like visionary. Like I am just like head in the clouds, dream bigger
Hmm.
than anything. So it's a moving target. But anyways, if you were to ask me right now, my goal is hopefully somewhere between 4 and 8 practices, all rural Iowa, all probably 30 miles from each other.
Hmm.
And I don't really know what the exit looks like. I tell my husband because he hates people who retire young. So I'm like, I'm going to be retired when I'm 40. Um, but I think honestly, it's going to depend kind of like what is the passive income flow. If I have a flagship doctor who's kind of a partner at each location and I'm making money just not doing really clinical stuff, like I think that I could keep going on with that for a long time. But eventually, once you have multiple practices, the exit's always to kind of sell them as a group. Whether you can find a group of private doctors or you're looking at, DSO is such a bad word, but it is what it is. It's kind of the future of what's going to happen. So, um, obviously, that's kind of the appeal of multiple practices is that you can sell it for a larger multiple of EBITDA and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what the exit looks like. If you were to ask me right now, it's just going to be having partners in each office that
Hmm.
kind of like buy in and then just sell. I mean, when you have partners, that's kind of the tricky thing too, because everyone has to be in agreement to sell to the DSO or whoever wants to buy, or each person buys out the office from me. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but we'll figure it out. I just don't want to be seeing patients all the time.
Right. No, dentistry is really hard. It's like physically hard and emotionally challenging.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know if you feel the same way, but when I'm busy clinically, even though I'm a good producer and like financially it's a good thing, I don't really get the chance to focus on my
Yep.
practice.
Yep.
We don't get to change systems. We don't get to really grow. I don't get to think about what's next because I'm just too busy head down,
Yep.
cutting teeth. So
Yeah.
I feel like in the moment, me practicing is a good thing, but for the 10 years down the road, if I'm stuck with my head in an op,
Yep.
I'm not really growing my business.
No, absolutely. Do you have a partner now? Or you mentioned an associate. Like, is that
Yeah. I have an associate, but I 100% own everything. So I own
okay?
all of our real estate. I own the practices. So,
Now, is partnership on the table for this associate?
I think so. Kind of how we have it planned is that every associate we offer or hire. So right now we kind of flip flop between locations, which worked great when it was 2 offices.
Mm,
As we grow 3, 4, 5, we kind of want a flagship doctor at each office. And so then they can become a partner in their location.
gotcha.
So that's kind of what we're leaning towards.
Awesome. Now, you had mentioned on your pre-interview form that um, managing and leading an estrogen-packed office and being a people pleaser on top of that has been challenging. Do you want
Yeah.
to talk about some of that?
Yes. So my associate is a man. Thank God. It's the first like testosterone that has to come in. There's like, I think, not counting this new office that we're acquiring, but between my two, I think there's like 15 of us. And it's like that's a lot of estrogen.
Hmm.
Too much, way too much estrogen. Um, and so it's just, how girls are, even, when we're mature adults, we still sometimes, I don't know, just want to bitch at each other. I don't
Yeah,
know what it is.
yeah.
It is what it is. And so there's always the cattiness of like, oh, she did this, or she didn't do this, or she forgot to, whatever. But I also, if someone doesn't do something the way I expect them to, I kind of just like harbor it within myself because
Mm,
I would rather avoid the confrontation and avoid the risk of upsetting somebody
yeah,
to give criticism. Even it being constructive criticism from the best place, it still bothers me
it's
to give
still
it.
hard.
No. And it's partly like I was explaining earlier, some of these women are my friends. I mean, we're in a small town where the friend, the option for friends is kind of small. There's not many of us out here. Um, so if I want to go out for margaritas, I have a small choice of people to choose from. So by nature, these are my friends.
Right.
So that makes it really hard. And I think the closer you get to them, in some ways it makes it easier. In some ways it makes it harder. Like for example, my office manager Kelly, who you've met, she's
I
amazing.
love her.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff I'm able to tell her.
Okay.
It's like no problem. But then there's still some things that like I don't know what it is, even though like I'm the most comfortable with her that I'd be with anybody, like I trust her completely, it's still hard to give
Hmm.
people feedback. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just I have problems making people upset at me.
So then, do you have someone that you delegate to have those difficult conversations?
I mean, I don't really hire, or like address people. I mean, Kelly's the big one. The only thing that she doesn't really do is like if it's a clinical concern, like I had to write up, ugh, and it was the worst moment of my. It wasn't the worst of my life, but it felt like it. I had a hygienist who gave anesthesia without me present, which is like very bad.
Mm.
Can't do that. And
Hmm.
so I had to write her up, and so that was difficult. But
Oh man, that's yeah. Being the boss is hard. It
mhm,
really is. And I think that's like I had so much turnover in my first year of the startup because I didn't know how to give feedback.
mhm,
And I think we're very similar in that we're both people pleasers and we want everyone to like us.
mhm,
And it's something that I have to talk to my therapist about almost every week. Like, oh, like where does this come from? So it's still hard for me, and this is our fourth year into the practice. But especially being a woman leading other young females,
mhm.
it's it's challenging.
Yep.
Do you have your husband at all in the practice?
Oh no,
No.
no. I kind of wish I did. I mean, I don't really have the place for him right now, or I mean, financially could I, but I don't know. Like he is very much a voice of reason. He balances me out very nicely.
Mm.
Um, he's a financial advisor, so I keep telling him,
Oh,
kind of,
perfect.
I tell him not like it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I'm like, you could be my CFO. Like
Yeah.
you could do this, and I don't know. So I would love that. I think he'd be a really good manager because he gives like feedback all the time at his office. Like he does it very gracefully. I don't understand how. Maybe it's a man thing. I don't know.
I feel like, well, I don't want to be sexist, but I really do think that being a woman and receiving constructive criticism from a man is just easier than receiving constructive criticism from another woman.
Yeah.
It just is. And I have actually told my husband that too. Like I joke that he should just come in just to give bad news.
Right.
Like say all the shit that I can't
Bad
say.
news, Brian.
Bad news, Brian. I love it. So, Brian, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, you have a title, Bad News, Brian. Now let's switch gears. Let's talk about family life, shall we? Because you and I, we got particularly we I felt more connected with you after you had reached out about um, we I was on the other podcast and talked very openly about my situation with my mom. And you had messaged me that you had also, you knew exactly what I was feeling. So where are you at now with that current situation?
Haven't spoken and I mean, long. I don't even know last time. She'll send me weird texts every once in a while. Um, but yeah, I guess for some background, obviously listeners don't know, but I haven't really had a relationship with my family for trying to think, probably three years. So they haven't seen my son since he was 1. They've never met my daughter. I'm
Oh
not
my
even sure
gosh.
if they know I'm pregnant. I think they do because I'm close with my sister still. Um, but it's one of those things where we have had a falling out and I can almost like not remember exact like the thing that made it happen is kind of irrelevant, but there was just so many issues from my childhood and my young adulthood and how this has been handled that compounds, um so basically my parents kind of out of anger stopped talking to me, and then I was like, like this is not appropriate, like you guys always treat me like this. And so then I kind of ended up cutting them off more so, and
Hmm.
I just haven't been ready to receive them back. Oh, my dad hasn't even attempted. My mom, at least to her credit, has reached out, not well, she hasn't handled it well, but at least to her credit has tried. um but yeah, the last I've heard of her, she texted me around my son's birthday, which is July, saying that she like misses us and she, wants to talk. She's never apologized for anything. And I was like, I'm just not quite ready there, but I hope that we can be one day. And then like a week later, she blocked me on Facebook. She keeps blocking me and unblocking. Like it's just kind of immature stuff. So uh
I also am blocked on
yeah.
Facebook,
So
which, oh my gosh, Megan, I it's so crazy. It's so crazy. So your parents live how far away from you?
so they used to live down the street, but they sold their house because I wouldn't talk to them and then moved to Texas.
Oh shit.
They,
Oh
at
my
least, I mean, I
gosh.
don't know that firsthand, but they told my sister that they gave me a timeline that they didn't tell me about, but they said, well, if she doesn't make up with us in this timeline, we're just going to move.
So they are wanting you to make the first move?
I'm not really sure. I think my mom, like I said, I haven't heard from my dad. My mom just wants to, I think, see the kids. But she doesn't want to admit fault and doesn't. The problem that I have, isn't I don't want to take my, children away from them. I think kids should be around their grandparents if it's a safe and healthy situation, etc. But the fact that I don't think that she understands the toxic things that they've done that I'm just afraid my children are going to experience.
Mm.
That's my biggest thing. Like if they could take ownership, I mean, I've done things wrong too, certainly, but if they could take ownership of what has happened and how they've handled it and how they've, like how my childhood was and how they've even treated, us in our adulthood, um, I would feel a lot better. But I don't know. She'll send me random texts that she'll show up in town and she'll be like, hey, I'd like to see Jameson. Doesn't mention my other child, just Jameson. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to just drop off my kid with you if I haven't seen you for 3 years. But
Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. Did you guys ever go to family counseling at all?
no, no.
No. Like, do you even think that would have been a possible, or that your parents would have been open to something like that?
Not initially. I bet if I asked my mother, she would. I don't think my father would.
Mm.
He's kind of a very traditional
Hmm.
person in the sense that like we don't do therapy. That's for
Hmm.
people who are, crazy.
Right.
It's not for people like us. People like
No.
us don't do
Those
therapy.
are for broken people.
Yeah.
Therapy is for broken people.
Hmm.
Now, what was it like growing up? Did you have like a pretty close knit family at one point, or has it always been kind of
It's
standoffish?
kind kind of interesting because when you grow up, you kind of think your childhood is normal, or at least I did. Um, my mom mostly raised us. My parents are married and always were married. My dad was like an executive for a company, and he would go to China all the time and then would go to Mexico, and then eventually started his own company. So he was gone a lot. But the biggest thing that sticks out to me in my childhood is my parents fought all the time and then like kind of put
Mm.
me in the middle of it. Like
Are you
my
the
mom,
oldest?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, my mom has family history of like addiction. Her mom died of an overdose.
Oh my
I
gosh.
we think suicide, but we don't know. My
Did you
mom,
know her?
no, no, my mom has problems with alcohol. And so she would be sober and then drinking, sober and then drinking. And then my dad would always put me in the middle of it. And then I remember vividly my mom drunk packing us up in the van and taking
Oh
us
my
to a
gosh.
hotel, you know, just, I, but it felt normal. But my parents were always fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then interestingly enough, what they did to us, they had done to my mom's stepmom. So when my mom's grandmother died, I don't know the exact story. I was kind of young, but then they cut off my mom's stepmom. I haven't heard from her in like 20 years. Um, so it's kind of like
Wow.
the cycle repeating is kind of interesting. But no, I just remember a lot of fighting with my parents, and then my dad always trying to like, oh, your mom, she's got a heart of gold, but she's just stupid. Your mom's not very smart. If she didn't have me, she wouldn't be able to do anything. And so I kind of grew up, like I looked up to my dad. He was a smart businessman, very successful. And I believed like, oh, my mom's dumb. Um, so it was just toxic. Like I hope my husband never talks about me to my kids like that or shouts threats of divorce drunkenly in front of my kids. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just weird. But like in itself, I had a nice childhood. Like we had nice things. We got to do stuff,
Yeah.
very healthy in that regard, I guess.
Now, how is your relationship with your sister, and how is your sister's relationship with your parents?
It's very interesting. So my sister moved down to Texas with my parents. She's 26, but like single, like living her best life. So she lives in Austin, Texas, which is about an hour from where my parents live. And so she's there like every weekend. So she's very close with them, but she also keeps in communication with me as well. And then she's kind of decided, she's like, you know what, like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear their side. I don't want to hear your side. Like I just want to stay out of it. So I try to respect that. I'll kind of ask her questions every once in a while, like when mom will add me to Facebook and then block me. I'll be like, hey, did something happen? Do you know why mom blocked me? Or just
Mm.
stuff like that. But yeah.
It's, I actually, just a few weeks ago in my therapy session, I was talking about how hurtful it felt like to be blocked on Facebook by my mom. And the interesting thing is, my mom is over here almost every day to see my kids. Like I mean, she's a great grandma. I mean, she spoils them rotten, is which is a problem, obviously, with behavior with my boys. Like our boys, just especially the oldest, Hudson. He's 8. He's. I'm thinking we're gonna start therapy for him
Mm-hmm.
soon, but she's over here all the time, and for all intents and purposes, it seems like we are some semblance of a family, and then it's weird that I have zero clue what's actually happening in her life on social media because I'm blocked. Like, and it's so embarrassing. Like, my mom is a typical Filipino in that they're very good about displaying like all the great things in their lives. Like, it's all for show. Like, Filipinos are known to drive Mercedes Benzes and have like debt up to their eyeballs. Like,
Right.
it's just one of those things. And like my mom's biggest thing is shouting to the rooftops whenever there's a birthday celebration in our family. So she'll post about my sons on her Facebook, and like Brian's even talked to me about it, and he's like, we don't even post about our kids on social media. And it's weird because we can't even see what she's posting about them because we're both blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I talked to my therapist about that, and I was like, is it weird that I am hurt by this? Like, it's just social media. Like, why can't I just, I'm like 39 years old. Why don't I just not care? And she's like, it's not weird. Like, the fact that you're blocked is weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally feel you. Like, and I have so many things from my childhood too that I, like you, thought was normal because that's what we're raised with. Come to find out, like, especially when you talk to other quote unquote normal families, like, no, that should have never happened.
Right.
Have you ever been to a therapist?
I haven't. I mean, I would like to. I kind of, we don't have, well, one, like good access, although I know there's lots of really good, like virtual
Mine is
options.
in Texas.
Yeah. So I have looked into, like, do you use an app for it or did you just find somebody or?
No, I found someone through a recommendation from a colleague, and it's been great. Like, it, especially since the world is like shut down
Mhm.
again, everything is on Zoom, and it's nice to just be able to just talk completely freely for the hour,
Yeah.
like anything. It's so nice.
I've definitely thought about it and I was going to, especially I kind of had undiagnosed, obviously, like postpartum with my
Mm-hmm.
second.
Mm-hmm.
I had terrible time. And I really wanted to do something, but I kind of got busy. But it is something I've definitely considered, especially now that with the virtual options. That's one
Yeah.
blessing of COVID is it's like made everything a lot easier to access.
No, absolutely. Like, you're going through so much, like just your
Yeah.
business life in general, and then on top of that, just unresolved stuff. And are you familiar with EMDR?
I've heard you talking about it.
It is. So EMDR, I still don't even freaking know what it stands for. Eye movement. I don't know. Just Google it when you're not driving, listening to this podcast. But I it's so weird. Like, it, so I just had a session on Monday, and like, something happened that upset me. Like, I received a text message from my mom, and then I just got quiet. And even Brian was like, are you okay? Like, he kept pushing it, and I just didn't want to hash it out. Like, because I was like, okay, I'm just going to save this for my therapy session. And
Mhm.
EMDR is so nice because you are able to tap into those memories that you don't even think still affect you,
Mhm.
but completely do. And it's so there's a book she had recommended that I read. It's called The Body Never Forgets, or The Body Always Remembers, something about trauma being trapped. And we experience it as different body signs. So when I was talking about my feelings, I started to get like tingling in my legs, and then when you close your eyes and she goes through the EMDR, you'll actually notice that your body sign changes. Like, it was weird. It felt like voodoo, Megan. I don't know what it was. Like, all of a sudden, it felt like someone was holding like the front of my forehead.
Mm.
And then after I went down memory lane, it felt like someone had their hand on the back of my head. Like, you could feel it moving. And I told her, I was like, is this normal? She's like, oh my gosh, it's so normal because your body never forgets, especially with how much you have going on with, you're now pregnant, you had um, undiagnosed postpartum with your second, but like all of the, just being blocked on social
Mhm.
media, all of those things add up so fast.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I
I
know.
think
I definitely need it.
you should let me know. Let me know when you start to do it, because I mean, I still am not in a place where I can have really honest conversations with my mom. Like, I I still have issues with boundaries. I
Mm,
never speak up when something like, so when I receive a text message that upsets me, I don't speak my mind. I just let it be.
yeah.
Um, are you like that too? Like, are you
Oh
able?
yeah.
Oh,
I have a hard time with, I mean, just anything, any sort of confrontation. It's not even just with my parents, but anytime anyone says that they're upset with me, or like even would end it, like if I get like a bad vibe, like I
oh
just read
yeah.
into it and I don't know, I go within myself and I just kind of like shell up. It's the strangest.
It's so. Ah, no. Okay. Let me know. Let me know if you need any help finding a therapist too, and I can give you my recommendation if you want.
Yes, I would love it. You can text it to me.
Oh my gosh.
Can
Okay,
she
I will.
can she
Uh,
see patients? Like, so obviously you live in California and she's in Texas, so she just hold licenses in other states or
she holds, yeah, she holds licenses in I think a few different states.
okay.
I think if you Google, I don't actually know how Iowa works. Let me try to find some resources for you
Okay.
after after we stop recording. So, what are you doing these days for self care?
Oh, what's that? I don't know. Nothing. Actually, that's something I was going to ask you about because I feel like you're always plugged in, right? Like, I remember you saying, like, didn't you answer a phone call or a text message from a disgruntled patient either like late one night or like on the
Yeah.
weekend? So, like, I feel like what I need to do to like give myself self-care is to unplug from the office.
Hmm.
But maybe this is where therapy would help me. I feel like if I'm unplugged, I'm more worried about it
Yeah.
because I just want to keep my tabs on everything.
Oh my gosh, Megan, you need therapy. Like you really do.
I know.
You really do. It's so like I feel like we're the same person in different states.
Yes.
Like it really I mean, I have 3 kids, you're about to have your third. We all have like all these memories from our childhood that have shaped how we
Mhm.
are and how like I could go on and on about like just my childhood experiences and how that has shaped me into being this people pleasing, scared to speak up, all of those things. Like I never knew that I had anxiety until I like opened a practice. It's like, what is this feeling in my chest right now? Like, is that normal? Yeah, no, it's just nice. Like peace of mind and being able to unplug. Like you should consider therapy as your self-care for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. So you don't do like massages
I
or
do. I like to go get massages. Um, I'm just so busy right now.
yeah.
I used to work 3.5 days when life was a little slower, but I overcommitted myself to
Hmm.
like teaching at the dental school and then buying this office. Um,
So
so,
what is this going to look like after you deliver?
oh
Like
God,
how yeah.
because I really we're trying to find a dentist to work, like I said, 1 to 2 dentists. So in my perfect world, I could just take a nice maternity leave and enjoy my
Hmm.
child. Because so my first, he was born during dental school, and like I mentioned earlier, I actually the timing of when he was born, I was lucky enough to get a maternity leave. My daughter, she was born during COVID. She was born in April, end of April, but my associate at the time didn't really do like extractions or anything. And so I found myself, I had like a picture that I took like a selfie. I was like nursing her in between like extractions and she was like 3 weeks old.
Oh
So
my
it took, like
gosh.
I was like working at 3 weeks postpartum. I'm like, it's one of those things that,
Yeah.
when you're a business owner, you do what you have to do,
Yep.
but I wish I didn't have to
Yeah.
do that. So I'm hoping we can have arrangements of some sort where I can
Okay.
take time and just be and enjoy, and hopefully that'll kind of help with my emotions and fighting off any depressive feelings.
Oh,
Therapy,
I'm
I'll be in therapy by then.
yes, I sure hope so. I'm tired just listening to how much you work. You work.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then oh my gosh, it's already 1:40. Can you believe how fast that flew?
It
What
did.
do you believe in work-life balance?
I believe in it, but I do not follow it. I mean, I that is one of my goals to achieve is more work-life balance. I want to be able to volunteer at my son's school or like go on his field trips with him. Like he just got a permission slip sent home. And first of all, what's like why do they send a permission slip asking for chaperones when the field trip's in a week? Like what kind of people can take off I don't know, people who have PTO, those kind of
Yes,
people.
yes.
I'm like in my world, I book out several weeks. Like I need to like know ahead of time, people.
At least 6 months.
Yes, I need to know. But yeah, so I want to be able to go on my son's field trips and like when they're old enough to like be in sports that are like traveling, I want to be able to go to those and I want to be the bake sale mom.
Right. Oh, is there anything that you regret about anything? Or that you, if you could tell the Megan of 5 years ago something that you know now, what would it
Um,
be?
it's tough because there's obviously things that I wish I did different or, things like skills I wish I had developed. But at the same time, if things had been different, would I be where I am? I don't know. So I kind of have a belief that like I don't want to change anything that's happened in the past because I don't know how it would have changed my present. I do wish for my future self that I will grow a pair of lady balls and be able to confront people. I mean, not necessarily in like a nasty way or a mean way or anything like that, but I want to be able to tell people what I want or what I need or not be afraid to say no.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's what I kind of hope for my future self.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you and this third baby and this third practice and this dream house. Okay, where are you building this house? And it's from the ground up, right? Like you designed this house?
Yep. We're still working on plans because COVID has caused prices to go up. It was originally going to
Oh,
be like 6,500 square feet,
oh my gosh.
which is probably too big.
I love it.
But no, we bought 6 acres of timber. So we are
Oh,
going to be building out in the timber. Um, so we're still revamping our plans a little bit.
oh my gosh. What's your style?
I don't know. I thought it was modern farmhouse, but then I saw like everything was modern farmhouse, and even though I love it, I don't want to like look at my house and be like, ugh, that was so 2020. Um, I'm kind of into the craftsman style,
Yeah.
especially since we're going to be in the timber, like craftsman kind of. But I just want a house for entertaining. That is like the thing. It's
Yes.
like Nick's has a lot of cousins with a lot of kids. And like
Oh,
we're gonna have 3 kids, and so I want to be able to have people over for the holidays. So we're really trying to design a house around hosting and entertaining. We're gonna have like a wine room.
of
And
course.
we're
Yes, of
in
course.
our
I'm
original
coming
design.
over.
Yes, come anytime.
Yes,
In our
thank you.
original design, which we might have to downsize a little bit, our pantry was like 18 feet long and like 7 feet wide. I want like, I'm gonna have like 3 dishwashers.
I love it.
Yeah. So
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Like I keep telling Brian like I don't really care about the house, but I just want land that we could potentially have our kids marry on. That's
oh,
it. That's all I want.
which land in California is
It's
priced
like ridiculous. Yeah, it's like effing ridiculous.
like
You
we
know,
bought 6 acres was like less than $100,000, which is probably
shut
unheard
your
of.
face. Oh my gosh. Like, okay, so Brian and I, when, this is so fun. What we do for fun, like when we don't have kids, is we drive around and we scope land because
Oh,
that's what makes me so happy because you don't really find a lot of land here. We found this little lake. It's this little enclave in one of my dream neighborhoods, and so they only have nine lots of 2 acres each
mhm.
Do you know how much the 2 acres
I don't want to know.
is?
I don't want to know.
$1 million for fucking 2 acres of land that you have, like, that does not include a house.
Yeah.
That
No,
is just the freaking dirt.
yeah. No, no, no. Oh my, I would die.
Yeah, that's why we just don't have land. And honestly, I'm like, why do we even live in California?
Come
Like,
to Iowa.
shit, come to Iowa. Dude, California is ridiculous. And now everything is on fire. Like,
Yeah. See, we don't have
yeah.
that. We don't have fires. We're good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna come visit and
I
then I may
still
just
come here and
stay.
love it.
I'm gonna stay in your wine room.
Yes, stay in the wine room.
All right, Megan. Well, is there anything that we did not talk about that you want to leave our listeners with today?
No, I think we covered a breadth of topics. Yeah, I enjoyed being sometimes I'm transparent to a fault. I don't know if that's
I
a good
love that. No, no such thing.
but yeah, I appreciate the time that you took to spend with me. I love spending time with you and I can't wait till we can rage with a glass of wine, a bottle of wine.
Yes, a bottle of wine. Okay, so the next time I see you, you will not be pregnant then.
I
Unless you will be having your fourth.
know Nick is getting a vasectomy. I will not walk out those hospital doors until he has
Okay, well, I wish you continued success, friend. It's so nice to connect with you. Thanks for spending your Friday afternoon with us today, and happy Labor Day weekend.
Yes, you too.
Thank you so much. Okay, before we wrap, we always ask, what are 3 things that we will always find in your purse?
Well, I don't carry a purse.
You don't carry a purse?
No, it's actually sitting next to me. This is my backpack.
Oh,
And so you can always find my Mac laptop in there.
okay.
You can always find, let's see, a book. Right now it's How to Be a Great Boss.
Oh, I love Gino Wickman.
Yes, I'm reading the whole
Yes,
Traction library.
I
And then
love it.
this is my folder of student reviews, the students who I teach.
I love it.
So
Oh
yes.
my gosh. Good job. Good job for you for giving back to the dental school. And then, of course, you guys know that we always have cocoa floss in our purses. So make sure to use LBD Pod 21 and get 20% off your first order of cocoa floss. Find us on Instagram. We're on Twitter, TikTok. We have a private Facebook group, Little Black Dress Pod. And Megan, where can people find you if they want to reach out?
I'm on all the socials, so Facebook, Instagram. I dabble in the TikTok.
Oh, hey.
But email. My email is Dr. Timm, Timm at smilesiowa.com. So email me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. And if you want to be a part of our podcast, please email littleblackdresspod@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on. And thanks again, Megan, for your time today. So good to see you. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.